Tonight you're going to see something that you've never seen on a bodybuilding show before and you may never see again.
Ever.
I think there was just a lot of really good guys all at one time in the 90s. Any one of those guys on a given day could be Mr. Olympia.
Everybody's game face. They're like, we going to war with each other.
Get ready. This is where it all begins.
Everybody competes on a certain level. Back when I was competing, they were looking at everybody else. Everybody was like, whoa, man, you got to be in shape. You got to be in condition to compete against these guys.
It was all over. It was like, where this dude come from?
I would say definitely that was the most intense period.
They were originals. What they did was original. One of a kind, nothing like it. Never been done before.
It's just a different era in time, and everything has its glory days.
During that time was a human specimen. You looked at his physique and you're like, how does this make any sense?
We remember the top of the mountain. He showed us what that looks like.
And I always mention, anyone ever asked me who the freakiest bodybuilders you've ever seen in real life, I cannot tell you how crazy Lee Priest was. I think he was around 20. He was so big, he could barely walk. That's how big he was. Like, I know in today's era, like, we've seen the biggest guys, the arms and the legs, and I mean, it was just crazy. Priest was the biggest pound for pound guy I've ever seen. It was just out of the next level, and he was like the talk of the town.
Bodybuilding's supposed to be, you know, the ultimate male, the extreme, you know, to look like this. You know, we look at the pictures when we're teenage boys. I want to be built like this. When we lose some of our guys, Munzer, you know, he wanted to be a champion so much that, even though he was told by many, stop doing this. And sometimes guys can't. They want it so bad.
I'm so sick of the science about everything when it comes to hard training. You know, when I was a kid, guys went to the gym and trained as hard as they could, as long as they could, every day, simply because they loved it. And today, all you hear is discussion about how to find an easy way, a comfortable fucking way to do what needs to be hard. About that you better be careful because you can overtrain. This weekend we're gonna find out about pushing hard, doing things that hurt. And they ended up being chosen. Price they paid, the simple price they paid. Action. They took fucking action.
I brought all these other guys from Europe that nobody had ever seen. Take Charles Clairmonte. Charles Clairmonte was 4 or 5-time NABBA Universe winner. Tremendous bodybuilder. There was always the thing in England, who was better in the late 80s, Clairmonte or Yates? Clairmonte won everything and he didn't want to compete no more. There was nothing else because they wouldn't let him in the IFBB. And I said, Ben, this is crazy. This is the best athlete in NABBA. He's retiring. He's only 28 years old. And he's a good-looking guy, beautiful symmetrical physique, marketable. Well, you know, he has to go through the British Federation. I said, you're going to tell me he's got to go into Mr. London to qualify for the British Championships and then go into British Championships? If he goes into Mr. London, who's going to compete? Who's going to hurt who if he goes into Mr. London? If he goes into Mr. London, nobody else competes. You know, rules, 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 which annoys me, these rules sometimes. We're just looking at pictures of him saying, we need this guy. Look at him.
In second place, it's Flex. In the best condition of his life, Charles Clairmonte.
That's the one you want right there.
I mean, it's far from over. There's another part to fight tonight, and I'm going to have to fight tooth and nail.
I'm training chest and I'm getting a bicep pump. It's unavoidable. I love this. Hollering when it's going on and I'm crying because it's over. Can't wait for the next workout.
Bodybuilding was so individual for me. I had to study the nutrition. I had to do the training. I had to find out how it worked with my body. There were no teammates. There were no family. There was nobody to let me down. It was just all down to me, win or lose. And that was the appeal about bodybuilding for me. I was almost psychologically just perfectly built for it, perhaps, you know? They couldn't get a handle on me. I mean, they don't see me. They see each other in the gym every day. So, oh, so-and-so, yeah, you see him, he's having a down day today. He's doing an argument with his girlfriend. Or, did you see this guy? He doesn't look so good. And, you know, blah, 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 blah. But Dorian, no. Creating this monster in their mind that's just in this basement and is throwing weights around. And, you know, they accepted they couldn't beat me. And if they're telling themselves they can't beat me, then for sure they can't beat me.
You have to pay your dues. You have to go to the gym. If it's rainy, if it's cold, if your girlfriend broke up with you or if your boyfriend broke up with you, you have to go to the gym. Or actually to have a different impact on stage, going back to the same old look, being big, hard.
He was massive, and I look at him now, and I look at today's lineup, and I still look back and think, I can't believe how big he was back then.
Nasser El Sonbaty.
I like to be world class, and to be world class you have to give something special, you have to do something extra.
I respect all those, big monsters, because I know how much dedication and hard work is going into, making so much muscle mass. And I just believe that bodybuilding is a little bit more than just plain muscle mass building. All of us start bodybuilding for one purpose: to look good, to be satisfied with the way we look. And I achieved that look, and I really wouldn't want to change my physique with anyone else.
Pushes me is really unreal, in the sense that he never lets you stop with just the average amount of repetitions, or stop where anybody could stop at a certain point. But he always tells me it takes something more, somebody better to go beyond that.
Intensity is where it's at. I mean, it's about the heavy weights, but it's about the pace of the heavy weights, and just grinding it out. I mean, that's the only thing I knew how to get better. And the physiques are totally different when you have that hard, heavy training. It's more dense and hard looking.
The appeal to me is to make my body better each time I go to the gym, each time I do a repetition, each time I do a set, to take my body to levels that are really unknown right now to me.
Young people understand, this young man, never give up. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
don't cut any corners. Any show I train for, 100% all the way.
Did the extra work, you did the extra 5 or 10% or whatever it took, and you finally made it.
I've been thinking and dreaming it so long, and it's just a couple months to set in before it actually hits me, knowing that I got to compete against monsters. So I paid my dues, and tonight was my night, and I'm very happy with the outcome.
No different than what we all did to get here. We rose to the challenge, week after week. For the love of the game. If I put my fists together, there's nothing we can't do. That love just doesn't go away when we retire. It's still in us, burning to be used.
I can tell you that my training was so on point during this time. And what I mean by on point is anytime I went to the gym, I had the craziest pump, the best progress, and I was eating like crazy and my body would just absorb the food. If you said to me, what was your calories like? I mean, I was eating like 1,000 carbs a day, every day, and I was still in that kind of condition. So when you can eat that much food and everything just clicks, I mean, I was young enough where I was in the prime of my bodybuilding career. So my body was so fresh and so absorbing.
As a champion, you're always dealing with people on the up and coming, right? But I didn't give a shit. I was just like, you know, I'm coming for what's mine.
I had to run on my own energy. You know, I had to convince myself that I'm gonna make it. You know, regardless of how people felt at that time, and because they don't understand the process I went through and how much I had to believe in myself in order to make these things happen. I had no choice. If I was gonna stop hustling, then how was I gonna provide?
There ain't no plan B. Shit gotta work.
Always has a surprise.
When you're involved in a sport where you're always one of the top, you've been one of the top contenders from you started, and you're still, you know, sustain that. You know, that is an achievement, and you have to be happy with, you know, with what you've accomplished. I mean, you want more, and you'd like to do more, but at the same time, you have to learn to appreciate what you've done also.
You're a Rambo. Don't make you a champion. Extremely, I know all these guys up here. I've trained with these guys since the early 90s. I've competed against them. These guys are major league intense trainers. And when they get hooked on something, it's balls to the wall. So all the other stuff is secondary. You don't know what you could be opening up. So I tell guys, especially young guys, dude, unless you're gonna make a living at it, unless you feel that you can be a true champion, unless you're really willing to take a risk.
You know, it's gotten to the point where it's kind of cynical. If you don't look a certain way, you should feel bad about yourself, which is unfortunate. I believe it comes from the heart.
I'm Markus Ruhl from Germany. I'm 27 years old and I do bodybuilding since 9 years ago. I began with training in 1991 and now it's my first time at the Mr. Olympia. I'm the first professional in Germany to get the pro card without a world champion. Hard training, good eat, and I live bodybuilding every day. Very important for me that the fans stay behind me, because they said to me I'm good enough to be a star in bodybuilding, and that's very important for me.
You know, I remember the first time pumping iron was on PBS when I was 10 years old, and I fell in love with bodybuilding from that day. And you know, I knew, it took a few more years to get into it. I didn't really get into it until I was 16. That was really where it started. And I knew at the age of 10, I knew I wanted to be a bodybuilder. It almost never seemed real, you know. As when you get into bodybuilding, when you first start on the gym, at least with me anyway, you know, you never even think like, maybe one day I'll be competing at the Olympia or get a chance to, or that's too non-tangible, you know, you can't touch that or whatever.
Bodybuilding doesn't just happen. You want to be great at anything? You're going to devote an unbelievable amount of time, physically, mentally, doesn't matter what it is that you want to be great at.
Best shape of his whole career. What we did, we went back to basics, old school, training hard, no playing around, no hanging out, no partying, no nothing. We got real serious for this show because it's time for a change.
It's free weights, it's your body moving it. It's a whole different animal. There's something to be said for that raw, between you and that weight is just steel. Nothing guiding you. When you get like that, that's the real deal. And that's the difference in the physiques today. Every body, every muscle in your body is firing. That's the real deal stuff, man. And you can't get any more hardcore. It's a whole different animal.
Fun of it's the journey. And this is the part that most of the bodybuilders can't handle. The journey, the dieting, the training, the 2 and 3 hours a day. The different workout partners and different gyms and traveling and the expectations and the stress of bodybuilding, the relationships that come and go. I welcome that. It's the journey. But my physique and my progress reflects nothing but dedication and commitment. I've been competing against giants all my career, but I brought shape, I brought definition, I brought presentation, and I brought class, and I brought a good example to the sport of bodybuilding. If I have any word of advice for all these new jacks that are coming up, get control of your career. Time to rock the house.
And here, it's hell. That's why I always say, man, you know, I want to go through hell, I want to train like hell, because a diamond is created in the most harmfulest, craziest environment.
There is always going to be that outlying guy that is just God-given. There's nothing that can match that.
the gladiator. If there was another level to reach, Ronnie would have reached it. You've heard him say it many times. The only thing that he regret that he didn't do is more of what he did. That's the mindset of a gladiator. He's different. Ronnie is different. He was the best at the best in his era. He is in a league of his own.
To me, the golden age of bodybuilding was the 90s.